Welcome back to the It's Bigger Than Me podcast. I'm your host, Molly Trotter Gomez. I'm very excited for this episode today. It is going to be raw. It's going to be raw because it's something that literally just happened, but the lesson that is coming out of it so far, even though, Carrie, I know there's so much more that you get to dig into, but I just honor your vulnerability of telling me this recent story and just even coming on here to share. Because when it comes to obedience and giving God our yes, and even if we can find some way to manufacture a different outcome that we want, ultimately it's what does he want. And she has a very, very powerful, impactful story to share with you today, and I'm very excited. Carrie and I met on social media. She's in one of our Radiant Leadership Academy classes here in Kingdom Alliance, and it's just been an honor to actually get to know you online as well, Carrie, watching you go live and just share right from your heart. I'll see these little one-liners and I'm just like, oh, that's good. I'm like, I'll click to that. That's good clickbait. Like I was just very impressed from what I've seen with you so far, because we've only known each other a couple weeks. So, anyways, that's what I know about Carrie, but she has so much more to share, and she'll be able to kind of give a little bit more background on herself. So, Carrie, welcome to the show, and please let the folks at home know a little bit more about you.
Well, thanks. Gosh, I am honored to be here. I've been fangirling over you for a long time, so I feel like I'm meeting a superstar. So obviously Molly told you, my name is Carrie. And I actually own a nonprofit called Kingdom Life Women. And what we do is we believe in women empowering other women to make impact for the kingdom of God. And that can look a lot of different ways. We mentor women that are currently incarcerated and then continue mentorship when they come out. We also mentor single moms. We mentor brand new entrepreneurs that want to start their business. I have a couple of clients that are six-figure entrepreneurs that just are kind of stuck in some mindsets and they need a little help there or some strategy to grow their business. And so I kind of help out with that. And so, yeah, my story is, I was homeless. I was an addict. I was a single mom and knew Jesus all my life. But just like a lot of people, it's real easy to find God when you're a child and then walk away later to kind of see what else is out there.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert, nothing. And so
Thank you for
don't do
that.
it, girl, don't
Perfect.
do it. And so just came back to the Lord. And I mean, he has just rocked my world. I went from everything I just told you to a multi-million-dollar business in just 4 years, only to have the Lord tell me, as I told him, hey, let's go all in. He said, great, close your business. And I was like, I'm out, pass, skip me. And I did, and here we are. But I will tell you that 3 years after that, I'm in a place that I never thought I would be. The Lord has given me so much to steward that I never even knew that my heart needed or wanted. And
Mm.
he's just shown up incredibly. And so I love what I get to do. But I know even now he has more. So yeah,
Gosh.
that's me.
You know what I hear, Carrie? I hear what you're saying in between and you're not saying. You've had some big yeses and yeses that were hard. And you're, like you said, skip me. My gosh, I've had so many skip me moments. I'm like, come on. And he's like,
Yeah.
he just sits there silent. I'm like, oh, okay. So I know that before we even clicked record, you were talking about another big yes that literally just happened as we're recording this hours ago. And so kind of walk us through some of those big yeses you mentioned in your business, anything that you learned, and then we can transition to the one that he's walking you through right now. Because so many people, like we've talked about, it's easy to tell people, hey, here's what you should do.
Mm-hmm.
Start walking it out. You're
Yeah.
like everything just like it starts fraying at the seams. And you hope not, but you're just like, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we get to see, is it strong? Is it really embedded or not? So I'd love to know, just from some of the yeses you've had earlier, what you've learned, and then we can transition however you'd like into what he's walking you through right now.
Yeah. Yeah. The yes, it's so easy to tell other people, oh, just give God your yes. But let me tell you, when it is you, your answer is no and no and no and no. And the Lord just waits for us. I think I'm so grateful that He knows how to deal with high strung people, where He's just like, I'll wait for you to finish your tantrum and we'll just continue later.
So
Um,
true.
and every yes for me, I mean, I would love to tell you I'm the girl that's like, yes, God, whatever you want. I'm the girl that's like, no, I'm good, thanks. So every one of my yeses comes with a lot of no. And he's so good and so gracious that he always works it out for me and brings it around to a place that I can say yes, And it's probably not an easy process for him. So I'm glad that he's patient. But one of the, a few of the yeses that have really led to this is me just doing the whole all in thing. And it's funny because when I think back to it, I didn't do it like, Lord, I just want to go all in. It was not like that. It was like, you know what? Okay, I keep hearing all this stuff. I keep hearing everybody say you're good. And I think you're good, but I don't know that you're good to me. But you know what? Let's give this a whirl. Let me prove you wrong. It's kind of like that. And so in that moment where I told him that I was ready to go all in, he gave me the opportunity to back out. He said, well, what does this mean for you? And I said, God, you know me, I'm extra. So you have to take me to the deep. Like if we're going to go all in, we got to do this
Mhm.
thing the whole way. And he said, great. What are you willing to give up? And I was like, anything, anything. You can have my kids. You can have my husband, like whatever. And he said, okay, close your business. And I was like, I'm sorry. Not that though. That wasn't on the list. Not that. And so we had to fist fight for a little while. I totally understand Jacob wrestling with God. And like, I get it. I'm that girl. But when I finally said yes, it's so funny what we do to God, and he's so tolerant. I just told him, you know what? If this is for real, if this is really what you want me to do, I need three people. One, two, three, three people to confirm it. And within 2 weeks, three people confirmed exactly what he was telling me. I didn't even tell my husband that we were talking about this. And three people that I barely knew spoke the exact same thing over me. And I was like, you know, and so we did it. We did the yes. And now 3 years later, I realized that, I do so much with closed hands. Like it comes from a good place. Like, Lord, these are my single moms. I love them and I don't want anybody else. And he's like, they're not yours. They're mine. I just gave them to you to steward. And so I was watching your live earlier about stewarding community. It sounds like a beautiful thing. Like everybody wants to steward community, but what happens when God tells you they're not yours, they're mine. I'm just letting you take care of them for a little bit.
Yes.
And so these yeses feel really different in the real world than the things that we say at church. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then it's like you get my husband and I have talked this so many times, you get like the churchy church answer of like, just pray
Right.
about it, just dig in. It's all going to
Give it
be
to the Lord. Yeah.
yes. And like, if church taught me to war, taught me to wrestle, taught me to like, it will be this way, you would
Yeah.
have better preparation. But I've
Yeah.
never been in a church that's really ever taught that before. A few people, not from
Yeah.
the pulpit, but a few people, hey, it might be like this. I wish one of the things that I wish so bad with church is a little bit of tangent that somebody would prep me for the wilderness season. I mean, we get that little
Right.
like what Jesus got, but like, come on. Like
Yeah.
nobody really walks you through it for whatever reason. And that was one of the things when I've gone through a wilderness season. I'm at some point, I'm writing a book. I'm like, I needed this back when I needed somebody to tell me the raw and the real, no matter how messy and dirty it was. I don't care how it makes you look. I just need to know because it's like you get this false perception
Prepare me.
and
Yeah.
then you're not ready. And then you'll never
Yes.
fully be ready because, that's faith. You got to walk in your own journey, but there's still a little bit like a little heads up, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So that it's not all clean and pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I think for so long the church has presented Jesus and walking with him like as this holy, clean, pretty, and it's not. It's down in the mud, it's dirt, it's blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, it's really hard. And it's funny because I should have known that something like this was coming because I just went through this wilderness season and I know you know what I'm talking about. Like you go through it and you feel like you're not going to survive it. And I love it. I listened to a guy that kind of talked about it. And he said something really interesting. He said, in between the two mountains, there's no other option than to go through the valley. You cannot jump from the mountaintop to mountaintop. And I thought, well, that's true. And as I began to read about like this whole valley situation, I just think it's so cool because I love everybody quoting the Bible. Though I walk through the shadow of the valley of death, and I start reading that and I realize like there's a part that everybody misses. He talks about that he sets a table for us in the presence of our enemies. And so everybody's like, yeah, praise God, hallelujah. But here's the thing, when you're walking through that valley, because that's what's happening right before this table appears, the Lord is so good that he actually sets a table full of your favorite foods.
Mm.
Cake for me. And you get to sit down at it. And it says it's in the presence of your enemies, but at no point does it say they get to sit down. They just get to watch you eat.
Ooh.
And you get refreshed, and that gives you the energy to go to continue through that valley and get to the mountain, and that's what it looks like. It is a lot of blood. It's a lot of tears, and it's painful. It's hard, but boy, when you come out the other end, it's so sweet. But you don't forget what it feels like. You
Mm.
hold on to that for sure.
That is so good to just take a little piece and share that revelation. That is gold. So walk us through a little bit, like what he's having you walk through now, because you
Yeah.
you went like you're
Mm.
all in the valley, call it what you want. I'm not going to call your season for you, but the fresh thing that he is walking you through, walk us through that.
Well, I always say when God tries to teach you a lesson and you don't learn it, don't stress. Don't worry about making the wrong decision because he's going to bring you back to it. He's going to give you another opportunity. And so I feel like, when I told him no about the business, I feel like he's like, sometimes you still close your hands. And so I get to do something really cool. I am an assistant chaplain at a jail here where I live. And man, there's nothing that speaks to my heart like these women, because truly, you can be yourself no
Mm.
matter what it looks like, good, bad, ugly. You can say what you want, you can do what you want, because there's no judgment there whatsoever. Sometimes in church, everybody's Sister Susie, super Christian, always has something to say. But here in the jail, like, it's one-on-one, it's real talk, and you can really teach people who Jesus is because they're so hungry. The real Jesus, not the churchy Jesus, but the real one, the blood, sweat,
Yes.
and tears one. And so it is one of the things that I absolutely love to do. And, just because you're in a place that God puts you, it doesn't mean that there's not opposition. In fact, there's always going to be opposition. And sometimes it's going to look like the people that should be for you, but that does not mean that they're going to be for you. And so
Mm.
I'm walking through a little bit of that season where I'm in this pattern where my classes suddenly got suspended for what I don't consider as a good reason. Of course, I guess we never do. But in this period where I really could just, I had a choice to make. Do I trust that God knows what's going, or do I try to fix the situation myself? And let's face it, with women, we are really good manipulators. I mean, let's call it what it is. And people
Can
think
be for
manipulation
sure.
is always bad, but it's not always bad. I mean, we bribe our children to do their homework, we make our husband pick his clothes up, stuff like that. But when it comes down to this kind of situation where God moves you into this period where he says, okay, do you trust me yet? Do you trust me yet? Will you open your hands yet? And you're like, Lord, just let me make one phone call. Just the one. Just let me say this one thing. Let me just tell this person one thing. And God's like, okay. But again, when he says okay, he does not mean okay. And
Yes.
if God says okay to you, don't do it. It's the immediate,
It's
don't do it,
loaded.
right? Run. Just go do what he says. Save yourself some trouble. So I'm in this period where I have to just trust him. And what I found, although it was extremely painful and just broke my heart, yesterday I was just, but I kept feeling, I kept feeling in my spirit the Lord saying to me, don't spin out. Don't spin out. I'm in this. And then I heard him say the dreaded words, open your hands. And I started laughing and I'm like, oh, so we're doing this again. And he's like, yes. And so I had a period where, of course, you know what you do. You call everyone, girl, you got to pray for me. I'm in this, right? And the Lord's like, you don't need prayer. You need to push. Like,
Ooh.
what's that mean? What I'm trying to push, and he's like, no, you have to push. Here comes the trust. And I'm like, all right. So I made a very conscious decision not to spin out, not to call everybody I knew and try to talk about it. We do that. Well, I just need to vent. No, you don't. No, you don't. You vent to the Lord. That's who you vent to. Because in all of this, the Lord kept saying to me, be honorable, be honorable. And I thought, even when Jesus was here and he was walking with and having all these conversations with the Pharisees, he did speak truth, but he was always honorable. He never stepped out of line. He did only what the Father told him to do. And so I had this moment where I thought, okay, you know what? I'm only going to do what he tells me to do. And sometimes he's silent. I love that you said that, in the silence. It's in the silence where he said,
Yes.
are you going to just trust me? Are you going to trust me? And so I made the very conscious decision that I will not give in to my feelings. I will not give in to my fear about it. I will not try to change the situation. I will be honorable. I will trust him. Does it mean that it hurt? That doesn't hurt? No, it still really hurts. It's horrible. Well, I don't even know what to do with my week this week. I'm so off kilter, But the truth is, sometimes when we hold things so close to our chest, and we just, it's like our little balled up fist, and he's like, can I give you more? I want to give you more. Yeah, Lord, give me more. And he says, I can't fit anymore. You gotta open the hands. And
Mm.
sometimes it's probably like this in the spirit, but that's where I feel like he has me, like in this moment of just open your hands and trust me. Know that I fight for you. Know that I'm on your side. Know that this isn't the end. And Molly, I think constantly like of the things that the Lord has shown me. Those moments where God shows you the future and you're like, no, that's too much. And he reminded me of that this morning while I was praying. And he said, you're never going to get there if you don't leave here. And I'm like, wow. Now, am I ready? No. Did I get to say goodbye? No. All these things that are caught up in our emotions. But like I know, ministry is not always about emotion. Sometimes it's really about obedience outside of the emotion, And I feel like in order for God to move us out of the situation where we are, sometimes we just have to go crying. We have to go kicking and screaming, and we just have to have this ugly trust. Like, it's not the kumbaya, the Lord is fighting our battles. It's not that. It's like, I can't believe you're making me do this again, but I'm going. And people say that you can't get mad at God and you can't say all these things. He doesn't care. He's used to putting up with humans. We're all toddlers. He appreciates a good fit. I mean, it just is what it is. And so, in this moment, I know there's people that are watching, that are listening, that are in that moment where you feel like God is changing your season. It's okay that it's painful. It's okay that you're in the valley. It's okay that your enemies are all around you. I think in that moment, you just have to remember that God tells you just to keep going, just to keep going.
Mm.
Last week, as I was teaching, I was telling the ladies in the jail about Moses, about being mad at God. We were talking about being mad at God. And somebody said, well, you can't be mad at God. And I said, do you know the story of Moses? I said, Moses got so angry at God for making him like lead the Israelites, and they acted so stupid the whole time, that he said, you know what, God, if you're going to continue to treat me like this, just please kill me. And I'm like, that's so melodramatic, but that's me. So you absolutely can have that moment with God where you pitch the fit and then you get up and dust yourself off and keep trucking.
Totally. Gosh, that's so good. There's so many great points in there. And I definitely know your phrase, like, or what God gave you, push over prayer. Oh,
Yeah.
that right there really stuck out, because so often we just get in that prayer time. He's like, I've given you the word. Now go push. Now go do it.
Gosh.
Like, it's up to you. Like, go do it. You can pray all you want, but that's kind of, it's like you don't want to say prayer's a waste of time, but he's already given you the go ahead. He's giving you the green light. He's giving you the
Yes.
words. So that is so good, because a lot of believers get stuck in that. Well, Lord, I need this. Well, Lord, I need that. You mentioned that you're like, I need 3 people to confirm or what have you. And they did. I've had that too, where it's like, I need this to come in by this date. And what did he do? 11:59:59, it comes in. And it's like, how often do you want to keep asking and keep pushing, rather than just being obedient at the first and
Yeah.
really able to be like, okay, I got this. And so your story, Carrie, is so powerful, because so many people I know have gone through similar things of, we're either going around this mountain again. Here we
Mm.
go. There's something to learn. We get to open our hands. We get to push over pray. Not that we don't pray at all, but there's a time to pray and a time to push. And there's so many people
Yes.
at the time to push, but they're pulling back, being like, well, let me just pray about it and get more. It's like, you got what you need.
You know
Now
what you need.
go.
Now
Now get
do it.
and
That's right.
go. So this is so good. You're amazing. We could literally be on this for hours, but you like, I mean, you just gave us so much meat to sit on, to really dissect. So I hope y'all are really listening because Carrie's the real deal here. So, Carrie, what's a great way for people to get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your ministry, what you do, and just be connected to another real person?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is kingdomlifewomen.com. And it launched a couple of weeks ago. It's been kind of a dream in my heart for a couple of years. And it's still a baby, and that's okay. But there are some great opportunities there. One of the things that we get to sow into as a nonprofit is a single moms group. So I live here in Houston, and we have a large, thriving single moms group. And we meet every 2 weeks, and we feed a nice home cooked meal. I usually cook, which I'm hoping that ends at some point. But
Sales come
it's
in.
hard to feed 30 people. That's a lot of people.
Ooh.
And so, we eat together, and we do a little learning, and we do a little small group, and it's just good for women to be in community, especially single moms. And we have free childcare, so that's always nice too. And then another opportunity that we have listed on our website is an opportunity to give. And actually, what we're doing is, as these women go into incarceration, a lot of times, they have nothing. They have what they go in with. Sometimes that's not a lot of clothes. It's no kind of hygiene products. And so when they go in, it's fantastic. They give them soap, they give them shampoo. It's basically the equivalent of dishwashing liquid,
Ooh.
and that's kind of it. A razor and some feminine goods, that kind of thing, but that's it. And so what we are doing is we are actually collecting both products and money to be able to buy products for the women that go in, to provide them with just the basic needs: toothbrush, toothpaste, a brush, a ponytail holder, that's important. Just some nice soap and razors and socks and books and scripture. And so we have the opportunity to do that here in Houston, and just, love on these women and let them know that, it doesn't matter what situation you find yourself in, people still love you. You're still a human. You still
Mhm.
matter. You're still seen. And so that's always my heart. And so you can find us there on the website. And the website again is www.kingdomlifewomen, like a whole bunch of women. And then pretty soon, at the end of October, we'll be launching a podcast, and it will be Women Empowering Women. It'll be the Kingdom Life Women podcast. And, women just are this amazing creation. We're so resilient. It's crazy. I mean, I know men have their own thing, but I feel like women are just something completely different. And I think that women empowering women, it's something that we're taught, all women, we're taught that women are catty, shouldn't be friends with them. But the truth is, that's a lie from the enemy, because you get 3 or 4 women in a room and they will make things happen.
Mhm.
I love that. Someone told me recently that, in the Bible, in Genesis, where it talks about God forming man, we all know that he picked up the dust and he breathed into it, the breath of God. And the word is form. But when he created woman, he did something totally different. And the Greek word is the word for fashion. And so women have been fashioned. And I just think that's beautiful. And I think, God has like a really special, special place in his heart for the daughters of the kingdom. So we want to be in alignment with that for sure.
I love that. Yes, you know this about me so far that I am all about
Mhm.
women. I love being able to see just movements supporting women. Women are so used to other people tearing them down. And it's like that is so, it should have never been a thing, but that thing is definitely over. So we're moving on, get in the right environment, whatever that may be, get around people that want to call you higher, accept you as you are, but just let's grow together because I mean, there's no way, there's no reason not to, honestly, like you should be. So, Carrie,
Oh.
you are incredible. Thank you so much for coming on the show and just pouring out your heart and your wisdom on us today.
Well, thanks for having me. I loved being here, and I can't wait. I'm so excited to watch all the other podcasts because I love that you champion other women. I think that's amazing, and it's very inspiring for me.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. It means the world to me that you would lean in, listen in, and be able to hear the value that's being shared on this show. Don't forget, if you love this episode, rate the show, leave me a review, be sure to share it with a friend, and don't forget to tag me on social media. I will definitely be giving you a shout out. Also, come say hi, drop in the DMs. I would love to be able to hear what stood out to you the most on the episode and if there's any topics that you would like to hear on the show. We'll see you next time.